He still is asleep.
All right, it is 5 o'clock. Thanks everybody for being here today. We'll run through the agenda for our meeting next week. First on the agenda is approve January 2023 monthly bills. Anybody have any questions on that? Approval of minutes. Any questions on those? All right, public hearings. Resolution 23034, approve request for special event retail liquor license for WIT LLC doing business as JW Steakhouse located at 133 2nd Avenue Northeast, Decatur, Alabama 35601.
This is a special event that they're holding at the Arts Council, JW Steakhouse is doing.
All right, any questions? All right, resolutions. Resolution 23035, authorize application of Alabama Historic Commission grant for Austinville Historic Survey. Alan?
Yes, Mayor, Council, Alan Stover with the Community Development Department. This grant will allow us to do a historic survey of the Austinville neighborhood. It's $35,000 would be the cost to do the survey. $14,000 of that would come from the city's grant match, and then $21,000 from the state to do this survey.
All right, any questions? Resolution 23036, authorize Alabama Historic Commission grant for Delano Historic Structures Report.
Yeah, this is just a structures report to do let me start over. This is a grant to allow us to do a historic structures report for those structures at Delano. In order for us to get grant funding to renovate any of those structures, we would have to have this historic structures report first. So this will just allow us to do that. And it's also $35,000, $21,000 from the state, $14,000 from the city.
Okay. Any questions? Resolution 23037, approve funding for recruitment incentive award program.
Evening, Council. This is a budget amendment for moving money related to the police officer recruitment program. It's $50,000 in place, and Rochelle can answer questions related to the logistics of the actual policy, if you have any.
Well, I think it would be helpful to have an overview. Talking with the personnel board as we continue to have these vacancies in the police department, we felt it was important as part of the recruitment effort to get the word out there and get our own department actively engaged in building their team. We've heard a lot about signing bonuses from other agencies. I'm not a fan of those, but this recruitment incentive gets the employee involved, helps to recognize their initiative, and it's a retention tool for those new applicants that come on board. Just as a point of reference, we have seen since this was launched in the middle of January, I don't have the date, we have 30 applications, 18 of those were actually referred by a city employee. We intend to see a return on investment with this. The cost is incurred only if we hire someone and they've made their 6-month and their 12-month mark, and this is a far better spend of our money than spending $50,000 on recruitment ads and billboards that haven't been effective.
And it's open to any
city
department.
employee except department heads, and it's all spelled out in the procedural document.
Okay, any questions? And this is to kind of an estimate, right? of-
Yeah, I think, obviously if we spend it all, it's working, and eventually we'll have a full police department and it'll kind of shut off, but at this point we didn't want to move the whole thing. It was a good guess. So this will get us to FY24 budget, where we'll hopefully budget more again
We'll
to
have the
continue
data
this.
to help with the decision making.
In the 6 months, and we'll get closer to the 6 months, that would be we would pay out in next year's budget
Correct.
anyway, so, okay. All right, any other questions? All right, resolution 23038, approved budget amendment $11,842 to repair Point Mallard Golf Course irrigation line.
Council President Mayor Stephanie McLean, Point Mallard Park. This is a resolution to seek approval to have the irrigation line fixed at the golf course. There is a cracked valve that needs to be replaced.
Okay. Go ahead.
Pretty cold.
It was cold, yes, sir.
Is there other unknown
Yes, sir.
potential damage?
There is other unknown, but until we get this valve up and going, we won't even know. This is the main irrigation line, so until we get this up and going, we won't even know the other issues that we might have.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, Resolution 23039, approve agreement with Pewright McAnally for Bunny Lane road improvements.
Yes, Mayor, Council, this is for Pewright McAnally to do the engineering work for Bunny Lane with some of the development going up there. We thought it was about time to take a good look at it, get it engineered, and get a good estimate for improving that road.
All right, any questions? All right, Resolution 23040, award bid number 23005 for tree and stump removal to Ace Plund.
Yes, sir. We solicited bids for tree and stump removal for Park and Rec, and we got 3 responses, with Asplund being the lowest responsible bidder.
All right, any questions? All right, Resolution 23041, award bid number 23006 for mosquito sprayers to Adapco.
Yes, sir. These are for the street department. They're truck-mounted sprayers, and Adapco was the lowest bidder out of 2 responses.
All right, any questions? All right, Resolution 23042, award RFP 23007 to Do It With You Marketing for social media services.
Yes, sir. We got 2 responses on this. It's a request for a proposal as opposed to a bid, so other factors can be taken into consideration. I'm not an expert on social media, so I asked the IS department to have a look at it. It seems that this company does a more well-rounded offering of services. They have more experience, even though they're a little higher.
Okay. Any questions, comments? All right, Resolution 23043, authorize the mayor to execute the purchase agreement for land for DYS facility.
Chip Alexander, Legal Department. This is the contract with Decatur Housing and Decatur Housing Development Association, $171,000 for 6.4 acres for the DYS facility.
And did the housing authority approve that?
Yes, they were going to tell me if they didn't. They voted last week, and
Yeah.
I believe it's passed.
Chip, who negotiated this deal?
David Knupp and me. He's near Ford, and he represents both of the other entities.
Okay. Can I ask you, who authorized you to negotiate this?
Mayor.
And how did you give him the authority to negotiate this?
He negotiates our land purchases for us.
And of course, they come back to y'all for
Oh,
approval.
no doubt. But in the past, we have given authorization for the mayor to authorize negotiations of this sort.
This agreement, was it a work session, or I don't remember if there was something passed or not, but we discussed the location and where it was going to be and what the issues were, and got the go-ahead from the council to pursue it.
We've not voted on it,
No,
though, Chip.
maybe there wasn't a vote, but there was, go forward, and that's the appraised value. That's right.
You know, but when we, and I'm not, it's not your issue, but when we negotiated the ball fields, we actually gave the mayor authority to negotiate the ball fields on Motus Road. We did that in March of last year. And Herman, if I'm not mistaken, we've done that in the past. We've given the mayor the authority to negotiate these sort of things.
As Chip said, I don't know, we'd have to look back, but it was discussed with the council, and go ahead to negotiate this was given by the city council.
But if there's no vote on it, it doesn't matter.
Well, that's what you're gonna do, hopefully. next
No,
month.
no, to negotiate it, not to do this, but to
Well,
negotiate.
it's not unusual for y'all to authorize us to go out and,
Then why don't we vote on the land for Motus Road then, on the ball fields?
I'd have to go back and look at it, I don't know, it was maybe there was other options available, other land options available, I don't.
And there might have been other land options available here though, is what I'm saying. So,
Well, how long has this been going on,
it's been going on for quite some time,
Okay,
so.
yeah, I don't understand, it was, the council said, go ahead with this, what we understood, and that's what we did.
But Herman, you know better than I do, that unless the council ratifies something, that
That's what we're gonna hopefully do next.
we're ratifying the purchase of it, not the negotiation.
No, you're authorizing the agreement between the housing
Okay.
authority and the city. That's
Which
how
is
it
in
happens.
turn gonna go to the purchase of this, but we never gave the authority to negotiate this.
Where are you ultimately going?
I'm just wondering
I'm
why
trying to
there's
figure
a
out-
difference being
so
made
are you
here.
saying
That's where
that-
I'm going.
Okay, I'm with you, I understand what you're saying, but of all the items we've had, this has been one of the most discussed ones with the city council, that I'm aware of, I mean, as far as land purchase. The location, who owned it, and all that.
It's
But
been discussed in the
we'll-
newspaper, over and
Well,
over.
we will learn from this, we will, if you.
I'm just wondering how we got to this point to
The
where.
council shared it, we made clear, I'm doing this from memory, the council made it clear that we need to go forward and come back with an agreement to purchase this property.
I don't recall that. I'd love to know
That's
what
the
meeting,
impression.
I'd love to know what meeting that was.
Well, but and another thing is that this was, you were working with Lanier Ford, with David Canuck. It would only be appropriate with 3 attorneys on our floor for an attorney to work with another attorney, as opposed to me to work with that attorney.
But the mere fact that this council did not vote to authorize the negotiation, Mayor, that's the bottom line.
Okay.
And we've done that in other instances, but we didn't here. And I'm just kind of curious as to why there's a difference here. And, there's been a difference made. And I'm wondering why, though.
Well, I will tell you that this has been like every other one I've actually negotiated. The mayor or city council president says, this is the land we're looking at, or this is the project, see what you can work out, and that's
But
what I
in
did.
all actuality, Chip, city council president doesn't have the authority to give you the go-ahead to move forward on that.
My
It's a
understanding all the
council
time has been that whatever agreement I work out, and that's part of the agreement that I have with whoever, is that this is subject to council approval, and the whole thing may be thrown out if we get there. and
Yeah,
they
but I
don't
think
want to pursue it.
we're kind of putting the cart before the horse. I think that, again, the question is, who authorized the negotiation? Simple as that. And we've done that in the past with other issues, with other land purchases. We've authorized that negotiation, and we didn't here. And I'm just wondering why there's a difference being made here. That's simple as that.
Well, I understand, I appreciate, we will learn from this, but that was the impression we got, that the council wanted us to move forward. That was what we understood it to be.
But at that point, Harmon, there's no point in voting on anything. We can just assume that the
No,
council says to go along with something, and we just won't vote on it.
But this is an agreement, it's a conditional agreement. There's all kind of investigation of the property, there will be testing done on it. That's what this agreement does. This is not the final.
Absolutely. But I think we should still
I got
keep
I'm with
keep trying to turn this
I understand
around.
what you're
Okay,
saying.
all right.
I appreciate it. No, it was not an intentional thing. We just thought we were doing what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, I would kind of go around the other side of it and ask why I guess it is what you're asking, why we would have to give anyone the permission to negotiate on any land purchase.
Because we're responsible for all
But-
assets of the city.
Right, but we
And
don't,
all
when
future
something goes to
assets.
bid, we don't vote for that item before it goes to bid, that we go bid it.
But
And that's just the work of the city.
But again, it
City
takes,
Hall.
it takes city hours, and we are actually giving authorization for them to move forward. And it's just been common act. I mean, that's the way we've
Yeah, I
done it.
get that.
That's the way we've done
The
it.
way we've done it, I understand, but
And that's the way it was done a year ago when we did the ball fields. And it's been done in other instances when we've made other purchases, and I just wonder why we were treating this one differently than we were the others.
I
Simple question.
understand that.
It's as simple as that, why we did it differently.
But I would compare it to the bid process where we are not, we just had 3 in a row that none of us voted to go tell Charles to go bid these items. He did that on direction from whoever, and we
But
then
he's a
come and
purchasing
vote on
director, and he
this.
takes
I
in bids.
understand
We've
that.
authorized him to take bids.
He's a city attorney.
Yeah, but he went and negotiated on our behalf. That's exactly what he did.
He got
And
bids
that's
on our
not
behalf.
Chip's fault. He was instructed to do that. I just wonder where that instruction came from.
All right, any other discussion? Thanks, Chip.
The only other thing I was gonna add is that there is a 90-day clause in there that we're gonna test to make sure the ground's suitable. and this was for the appraised value.
It was appraised
Yes.
value? Okay. All right. Resolution 23044, approved DDRA additional appropriation for Johnston Street Alley Improvement Project.
That's what they presented, this just helps to fund that project. It will be a separate agreement brought to y'all, as relates to, in other words, agreement between DDRA and the city and the usage of that alley and that, and what can be done there. So that's separate from this.
And we're looking at $270,000, Herman?
150?
Well, on our behalf, but it's a total project of $270,000. Was that not right?
Yes.
That sounds right.
Okay, that's what I thought. Now, Carl, when we looked at this before, we were gonna have to move drainage pipes. There was at the carriage house, there was flooding underneath the carriage house. And we talked about this in the previous meeting when Kelly came in here, but the amount of money that it was gonna take to do that project was far more extensive than $270,000, was it not?
And there's an existing concrete flume that runs down the middle of the alley, and they've assured me they're gonna keep that same elevation and shape of that concrete running down through there. So the drainage should work just like it's working today. Now, if water's getting into the carriage house,
I mean, you saw the big concrete block that's down there and how water goes in there, and we're
not changing anything. Technically, they're not supposed to be changing anything drainage-wise, because I've asked them that, and I've told them that if they alter anything in there and it causes problems, that's.
So we're not gonna.
I haven't seen any finished grades either.
We're not gonna divert, according to them, that we're not gonna divert drainage.
Where the drainage will be the same. That's what they're telling me, but again, I've asked for some information, had not gotten it yet.
Okay. I'd like to know when you get that, because you and I went over there and looked at that several years ago, and it was far more extensive than what we're being told now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Was it for a similar project?
As
Like
far
to
as-
improve
They-
alley?
It was coming from, as far as I know, it's pretty much the same project.
Well, at that time, they're talking about flattening the alley out, and I was gonna have them put some drainage box and more storm pipe, where now they're saying they're keeping the alley shape the same, so it'll be the same sheet flowing coming out of the alley versus storm pipes and boxes. Again, I haven't seen final grades on it, so.
Another thing we talked about back then was that the businesses north of, what is it, the rail yard? They had not been contacted as to how it was gonna impact their business. Has anybody had
They've
any
all
conversation?
all those conversations have happened. Every building owner's aware of this project.
They're okay with this?
Yes.
Okay. I just know at that particular time, nobody from the city had talked to them.
There was
I
a
haven't talked to
question,
any of them.
I think the Maloney's about a shred
truck, yeah.
but they were fine
But
with it.
the
on the
height
street.
clearance has got to be there anyways for DU to get in there
Yeah.
Yeah.
because of the utility pole that's located on the northern end.
So you're good with what they're presenting now? Or you don't know?
I don't know.
Okay, good deal. I appreciate it.
All right, any other questions? And there's a separate agreement, like you mentioned, that would be, okay. All right, resolution 23045, approved funding for locating Horton House in Decatur. This is the Ciota project. Anything?
The amount's not to exceed $888,774, and we're trying to see if we can get the cost of the project down as far as the movement of the house. Find it, see if there's an option to produce it, which will be less expense to the city, less expense for the project.
Yeah, and I just kind of, the reason it's time sensitive.
Sure.
And basically, the 20th was the deadline given for us to make a decision, so.
But
All right.
So they weren't asking, I thought they were asking, I thought the overall project was 1.2, their ask of us was $1 million, but their ask of, it
It was 1.2 and they secured 300.
Yeah, $1 million, I think, was just a round number that people were
Okay,
saying.
well, I mean, I knew that 300 came from hospitality and tourism, so I was thinking we might be looking at 700, but this is 888.
Yeah, the million was never really what was asked. It was 1.2 when you list all the costs for utilities that are specific, proposals that were given by the utilities. The cost of the move, which is $350,000, And then when you take the 300 that's been committed, it comes out to 8, whatever the number was, that was said. And like someone said, Herman said, there's still opportunity to reduce that cost. And that has to do with working with the utilities and seeing if there's a cheaper way to move them, so. All right, any other discussion on that one? All right, ordinances, ordinance 234550, amend transient occupancy tax ordinance. Herman?
It was introduced, it's 3% increase in the city and 1.5% in the PJ. This would go toward economic recreation development.
All right, any questions,
What the
discussion?
resolution says here.
All right, boards and committees, reappoint Police Chief Todd Pinion to the Morgan County 911 Board with term expiring April 11th, 2027. That will be his first full. All right, any questions on that one? Reappoint Dr. Ken Copeland to the Healthcare Authority Board with term expiring January 1st, 2026. Any questions? Reappoint Melissa Craig to the Healthcare Authority Board with term expiring December 31st, 2028. And we did have letters of recommendation from Kelly Powers on both of those as well. Any questions? All right, our meeting next week is 9:30 for the work session, 10 a.m. for the council meeting. Anything else from any directors or managers? Mayor?
No, sir.
Anything else from the council? All right, we are adjourned. Thanks.